Hey guys, so today I'm going over our very first Mythic Dausegne skill, and just like normal, I'm not going to be going over all the mechanics and exactly what they do, but more of how we chose to deal with mechanics as a raid team and what parts we kind of struggle with. So one of the things that I asked all my raiders to do was get a 5-second countdown for the halos under their big wigs or DPM. I think it's really beneficial. I always call them out, but the reminder is always nice. First ad dies super quick. You don't have to worry about it too much. One of the really important things going into this fight is how do you want to deal with the barrage. It kind of worked out for us that we had enough immunities and we had a prop paladin for this fight. So the way that the barrage will choose its target is that it will prefer players that have not soaked in the line before. So what you can do is you can get the entire raid to minus one person to soak the barrage, and this will guarantee it to go on to a player as the 20th player. So you can have 19 players soak and then an immune class not soak, and it is guaranteed to go on to the immune class next time. I think you would want to do this only if you have a prop paladin, because it kind of gives you that buffer in case something goes wrong, because it generally goes wrong. Like the first one to soak, super easy to do. But later on in the fight, when there's a lot of other mechanics going on, sometimes players will forget to soak or soak too late, or if 2 players miss, then it can go on any one of those 2 players. So we decided to go with the immune strat because we had a comp for it.
Alright, go for next ad. Remember, I'll kick this ad, but everyone swap to it.
So we would try to kill this ad before it spawned like the swirls on the ground. Sometimes we'd get it, sometimes we wouldn't. Really, it's going to kind of depend on like the comp and like how fast you guys can swap the ads. But what you can do is the later that you kick the domination bolt, like more delayed his next mechanic is going to be. So you can try kicking late, and it could buy you enough time to avoid the swirls. You can see like we were like half a second off avoiding these swirls, so you're really close.
Alright, Ipsa coming up.
And for taunt swaps, I generally taunt at about 4, sometimes 5. That's when we do our taunt swap.
Ipsa.
So this was guaranteed to go on our rogue, which has immunity. So we just gotta kind of like ignore this mechanic.
Stacks.
So most of your healing CDs are gonna be centered around this shield. For whatever reason, for like the last half of the night, my absorb recoil wasn't working, so it's kind of hard to like gauge like how close we were to killing it, but it's whatever. And here your position really matters. So
we start first.
So start orange, and what we do is we'd go to the to skull basically. And what we decided, and there's like varying strats on like where do you want to bait like the frontal is what we called it from the boss, and what our rule of thumb was to always bait to the outside. The benefit of doing that is players kind of know where the frontal should go. The downside is that it's always guaranteed to go onto your ranged players and they lose uptime.
He picks up. Be everyone except for Fireball.
Yeah, so this will be our second set. So this is everyone minus like one of our mages. And this one's pretty easy to do. There's not much else going on.
Off the ad.
So I think one of the things that teams don't really stress until it's a bit too late in their prog is killing these cores as fast as you can is incredibly important, because it buys so much extra space in the room. Every single core you should only have like one set of shit on the ground for it. And sometimes we'd skip this because this is when Wild Spirits comes back up. You can see like the room like starts filling up.
Fireball next.
So this time it's guaranteed to go on the mage, so we just kind of gotta ignore this mechanic.
We start first. Ready to bait the outside.
So we got pretty good spawns here, with it being start first.
It's a good damage up in the end. with Sama.
And as you can see, players like weren't really playing this safe, I guess, where they were like cleaving each other in melee or like doing the halos wrong. Really,
Sorry,
melee are
everyone
just kind of a
just-
headache on this fight because they suck a lot.
Mine's
Or they like want to keep boss up time, so they're all kind of like stacked on the boss.
Sama used to soak there.
Yeah, and we kind of fucked the soak there. So this next set of halos
This
is
next part is they don't have immunity to get spell wording, so we already
yeah.
see where they're spawning.
So I call it like spell rotating, it's not an immunity because we had players like not soak that line that should have soaked the line, so the prop out had to be ready to immune. And there's kind of like two different strats to deal with these halos. There is, do you want to set up the raid in a position to where they can Night Fae, Blink, or Vent their teleport too, or do you want it just to be like more of a free for all? Originally, we tried to like set the boss in position to where you eat the first halo, and then you could Night Fae, Blink, or Vent your port like the next two if you're kind of like in one of the corners. I think that's mechanically way harder. Just like having it be a little bit more of a free for all is honestly easier. It's a little bit more work for the healers, and it can be a little bit scarier for the player's health. But like the mechanical execution of doing it this way is a lot easier than the other way.
Mirror first.
It'll be green first. Spreads, flip extra.
Yeah, and if you can, you always want to have some speed here. Yeah, I was just like chasing random players. My fault. Care approximation death.
Spell wording ding, spell wording ding, double.
Yeah, so we got the spell wording on Bing. And then we're gonna have one more set of 3 halos to deal with.
Some of your roar for the next halos. Get screen up in 5.
Or grab.
Hi, Muni.
Just watch me. Speak group soak coming out. Group soak on Flipix. Ready for halos. There's someone speed roar. Just focus on here. Get those orange.
Orange first, orange first.
So we'd always want to try to pull the boss towards like
Just
where the
kicks on
first
active.
halo was spawning. Tank dies there. That's not good.
It's dead.
So, might go to this. Kicks.
So you can see like the raid health is just like really scary here. But I mean that's just the fight, right? What's really beneficial, at least for me there. Yeah. So what we call is like wherever that beam shows on just dies, honestly. That's fine. And then with the triple set of halos, like you want to have like a Knife Blink or Vent your teleport, or if like DK, like AMS is really strong, you can pretty much ignore one of the halos entirely.
Alright, down 2 healers. Use your spells.
Yeah, so this is really scary for us because we were down basically 2 healers here and a DPS.
Second pot, the other.
But basically, if you break this shield, the fight's over.
Watch the heat. We can start this, guys. We can start this.
Oh my gosh, you guys got this.
It's just a burn. Just free for all in the halos. Yep.
Yeah. So I think like there's like 2 points I think that took us a bit to understand. It was kind of after this very first shield. What would happen for a lot of the players is with the double halo, they had trouble like dodging like the beam from the boss and putting themselves in a spot to deal with these double halos properly. And then same with kind of like positioning, right? So we kind of stay in like this half of the room for most of the fight, but like as you can see, like it starts filling up quite a bit. It can be like pretty claustrophobic. And then the other kind of like difficult part to the fight is just like post second shield and like learning how to live 3 halo hits, because like you can just see like the raid's health is just like spiking, like tanks are kind of getting destroyed a bit. It's like you have to kick this ad. It's a little bit hectic. But like I said, my big advice is don't like overly worry about cheesing the halos. if you have the comp to deal with like the barrage, then I think you should. If you don't have a prop paladin, I think it's a little bit harder to execute because there's not much room for mistake. But outside of that, I think this is a pretty simple fight. All right, so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll have my stream in the description. I stream all of our prog, and I'll also have like our kind of written guide for this fight. So, thanks for watching.